Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. If this is your first time here, please think about sticking around and liking, commenting, and subscribing. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for your continued support. I really appreciate it. This is a tiny YouTube channel and I am trying to get to 100 subs. So if you guys have not already joined the family, please do, because this is a huge goal and I want to share it with you. And I appreciate and love going on this journey with you guys. So today we are going to do coffee and cards. Let's discuss Mama Cass. If you don't know Mama Cass Elliot, aka Cass Elliot, then you know nothing about music. Do yourself a favor. Listen to Dream a Little Dream of Me, or anything by the Mamas and the Papas. Her voice was clearly the best. When my parents and I watched a special on television, it was a kind of a reunion for a whole bunch of acts in the 60s. They had to have 3 or 4 women to try to replace the vocalization of Cass Elliot, because her voice was that amazing and that strong. Unfortunately, people wouldn't glance her way, and she almost was an unknown treasure because she was fat. Yes, yes. Apparently, it's completely unforgivable in this world to have a weight problem. I have a weight problem. I have a beautiful voice. I bet you would never know that, looking at me, thinking, hey, there's a fat chick. I think this world is really sad that they can't accept people the way that they are. And we almost missed out on one of the world's biggest treasures, which was Cass Elliott's voice, because of stereotypes and stupidity. The most horrific rumor have to do with Cass Elliot is her death. She passed away at the age of 32 in Mayfair, London. The horrific rumor that came out of this was that Mama Cass died by choking on a ham sandwich. As if people could not be cruel enough to her in life, they had to also be cruel to her in death. She did not die of asphyxiation, did not have any food in her system. Unfortunately, she died of a heart attack. I just want to touch base with Mama Cass. And I keep saying that. I know she doesn't like it, but that's how I was introduced to her. I want to see what happened. Take a look and see what Mama Cass has to say to us. Well, John's dead. Oh, dear. Well, she sang like an angel, but doesn't mean that she was one. I almost see the deal made with the devil. And normally when you see the devil card, it's not literal. But her life was planned out for her in the very beginning. Her path was going to be short, and her path was going to be strong. Her light went out very, very quickly, but that was planned. That was something that she planned prior to even coming to this plane. However, she did not expect to have the solitude of weight around her. She struggled her entire life with weight issues, And sadly, when she was losing weight, it actually made her sicker. She had some underlined medical problems. Her official cause of death was a heart attack. She also was doing drugs, which is not out of the norm in the 60s or even now, but she was good friends with David Crosby. They were both closet junkies at that point. When I say closet junkies, they were both ingesting heroin. Um, this is uh, John Phillips. John Phillips was her ticket, and she followed him for a cost. Um, John did not want Cass in the band at all. Her voice was amazing and beautiful and powerful, but he didn't want her there because she was fat. And um, poor Cass had such a heavy burden to carry with her. And this is not a pun intended. She had a lot of burdens on her. And this is something I see that was carried over from a past life. Um, she she didn't make it long in her past life before this one either. Um, this is her own cycle of karma. However, she was treated incredibly unfairly in this life. And yeah, uh, speaking of past lives, she was, like I said, treated completely unfairly and unjustly in this life. But she will be returning again. Um, and this time, yep, she's still gonna be a heavy female this time. Um, I don't know if the world is going to be reciprocal to her powerful voice. Um, it's going to be out of this world. I think, unfortunately, right now, people have an entire generation of people have grown up with females who cannot sing. And there are very, very few female and male artists out there that can't who can actually sing. Cass was one of the only people who, without a doubt, without any sort of assistance, could sing. She actually broke a she was in a bar singing. She hit three very high notes and she broke glass behind the bar. This was witnessed by several people, including John Phillips, and he was afraid by her power and he did not let her into the band for a while. At first, he said it was because of her weight. However, he was highly intimidated by her voice, but he saw the opportunity that that type of power could be. Her voice was better than all three of theirs combined. Um, she was blind to the things that were going on around her, meaning between John and Michelle Phillips. Um, she didn't know of some of the bad things that were happening to other family members and people. This environment was entirely toxic for her. Her and Michelle were close, but the men were terrible to her. And she was often the butt of jokes. She was often made fun of. She was often hung out to dry. And people loved and appreciated her, but nobody cared about her, if that makes any sense. She went home alone. Even though she was married twice. The first time she was married was literally to keep someone out of Vietnam. The second time she was married, the person ended up having an affair with Michelle, I believe. Uh, she had so many treasures that she could have shared with the world, but it wasn't just the weight. And I hate this so much, that so much emphasis is put on weight, because weight does not equate a person or their personality or their talents or their gifts. She had many gifts. She had one child. She should have had more. She should have been around to have at least three. Um, Her child, Ellen, she actually did some touring with the Beach Boys, as far as I remember, as a backup vocalist. But she should have had three children total. Her life was cut short. She was, yeah, her life was cut short, obviously. And I don't think this next cycle will be very long either, but I think it will be longer than 32 years. Um, Her talent will never die. It can go through lifetime after lifetime, but her talent will never die. I've always known that Cass was a witch. I have felt it in my soul since I was a kid. I look to her as someone who I relate to on that level of paganism and witch, but she was definitely a witch. She loved hard. Um, Her love, unfortunately, was not reciprocated by anybody that was worthy of her. Um, the father of Owen was not her ex husband, it was another musician. Uh, for whatever reason, I want to say the love of her life was named John. She clearly made a lot of money for all the records that she did. Now, Cass was eventually put into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. I believe she was one of the first people to do this. She was in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inducted as both a solo artist and as part of the Mamas and the Papas. She had more solo records than she did her Mamas and the Papas album, but they cranked out a lot of stuff for her after she died, even though in some cases they actually withheld some of the songs, actually going so far as deleting some of her songs off of specials. And that is something you can find. That is a fact. This happened after she died, and they kind of silenced Cass for a while. That was due to snobbery of men, foolish men. Um, she had a lot of needles in her, and that was a self thing. She self-medicated for her depression, but also because she was a female who was trapped in a very precarious situation, because even though she was a heavy person, it actually caused her more illness with the weight that she lost. Part of the reason she got so sick and started missing dates for her Las Vegas shows and like the Mike Rooney shows and stuff like that she was supposed to be on was the weight loss had opened up ulcers and things like that. She was treating it with milk, and that wasn't helping her. She had a lot of natural remedies that weren't helping her. I think if she were alive today, you would have most likely found that she had an underlying disease that caused a lot of this problems, because unfortunately with the late weight that she lost, the sicker she got. She was again, weight shouldn't be an issue, but a lot of people are assholes. So yeah, she weighed at her most in her height of her beautiful power and beautiful strong voice, over 300 pounds. When she died, she had lost over 100 and was incredibly sick. And I don't see the drug use really having anything to do with it. The drug use was just a side effect of the symptoms that she was treating that were much worse than anybody ever realized. I think if she was around today, she also would have been in psychology and had psychotherapy and things like that, and many other opportunities. But she was all alone, unfortunately. She was in a parade and she was dressed up and on a float, but people only were half clapping or half heartedly giving her accolades because they saw a woman of a certain size. They were not willing to see her voice. She lived an extremely lonely life, and that was her entire life, even from childhood. She had an extremely lonely life. She didn't want to leave her daughter, I can tell you that. Um, huh, that's an interesting card. She feels like there's going to be some justice um, for women. Um, I I almost want to say she's like the patron saint of beautiful, talented woman that happened to be big. She sees you crying, she feels your pain, and she wants to let you know that there's justice in the world. And of course, Cass knows without a doubt that her voice was more beautiful and more powerful than anything that this world has heard. And again, her voice never had to be altered, just as about every single female artist today, she would put every single one of them to shame. Um, every single one of them. She did not like people profiting off of her death. And I'm talking specifically about stories that were sold about her. She really didn't like that. Um, this wasn't her family. Her sister actually stepped in and took custody of Owen and raised her alongside her son as brother and sisters. But she does not like the stories that were sold about her. And this isn't just something that happened after she died. This is in people's books, people's memoirs, people's um, stories that they have sold about her. It's very heartbreaking. Her entire life is extremely heartbreaking, and I just feel the aloneness. I mean, I feel that too. And you feel unworthy and unloved, and um, she had things offered to her, but the only thing she really wanted was to be content and loved, and she never got it. And she unfortunately did a lot of self-medication with drugs. Um, she definitely had enablers around her. Um, she had a lot of tricksters in her life, a lot of men that pretended to be things that they weren't. She did not have a knight in shining armor. She had a lot of energy and a lot of things, and a lot of people just took advantage of her, but also beat her. And I mean, like, mentally beat her, degraded her, made her feel less than nothing. But at the end of the day, she's the queen. Um, there is no doubt with her talent and her power. Um, I think I think she's ready to roll again. And she's got a mission. I think she'll be back before her daughter dies. I mean, she's going to come back with a vengeance. And while she got tired of the term mama, she's going to come back with this mama bear strength. She's going to not be as foolish this time. She has karma that she needs to work out. She definitely does. But um, if she puts her energies in the correct place, she's not going to have as many issues in this life. But she's ready to work. She's ready to come back. She's ready to work. She has a lot of strength. She's been learning for the last several years of what she's going to do. I know, I honestly think she's gonna be back in this lifetime before Bob Dylan passes, um, with a lot of scars. She's still gonna have a lot of scars, but I see her in her youth, starting at maybe 14, really being able to show this voice of hers, and people are going to pay attention. It's going to feel like a gift. She's got to be careful because of the disgusting degree of people in the music industry. They've always been monsters, but now they are wicked monsters. But I see her also being not only powerful, but magical. She's gonna kick ass and take names, and I am seeing her be a a warrior for other people. She's going to really shake up people, and their views of what people should look like and how people should be treated. But clearly, there was nobody more talented than her, and when she comes back, she's going to show them all, and she's going to have to find that balance because she can go right back into that spiral. You see the infinity sign here. If she doesn't have a balance between her life and money, she'll have life, money, depression, and drugs, and more money leads to more drugs, and yada yada yada. But this is an infinity mark here, and she can break it. I believe she's going to have a strong manager who needs to be looked out for, but at the end of the day, she's going to triumph. So this has been a very interesting reading about Cass Elliot, aka Mama Cass. Again, if you guys have never heard her voice, what's wrong? Go to Spotify right now and listen to the Mamas and the Papas. Listen to Monday, or any song. Seriously, California Dreaming, anything like that. Because you're going to be blown away by this voice. There is not another voice like this, but there will be again. She's coming back. She's coming back with a vengeance, and she's ready to work on her infinity cycle. So that's my reading about Mama Cass. If you want to know any information about this lovely candle, I will drop that in the description. And I will see you guys later. Have a good day.